So I am making this to I was watching some tape. This is Andrew Wiltse versus Ronaldo Junior. It's from the Pan Nogi Championship of 2017 when both of these now black belts were purple belts. Actually Andrew Wiltse might still be a brown belt. I'm not really sure. I haven't really been following the scene all too closely over COVID, but he might be a black belt now. I'm not sure, but anyway, these are both, this is when they're purple belt. So it's a little bit closer to what I think, my skill level should, or an aspiring purple belt competitor, should, hope to have a similar skill level as this. So that's why I was watching this tape, and there's an interaction here that really efficiently demonstrates like this concept of overcommitment, good overcommitment versus bad overcommitment, or maybe more accurately, productive overcommitment versus responsive overcommitment. And you always want to have the former, obviously. So I'm just gonna play the clip, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'm thinking, and hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so they were just out of bounds, and they reset. Andrew's on bottom. It's bottom of half guard. Comes up on a single leg. Gets the sweep. Attacks a little bit. Gets his sweep points. And then backs up. Okay, that's the interaction. In this entire interaction, there were two instances of overcommitment. Ronaldo Junior's overcommitment. Ronaldo's overcommitment. He was the one on top initially. And then Andrew's overcommitment, which happened after he did the sweep. So let's watch it again. Okay, so they're out of bounds. Why is this an overcommitment on Ronaldo's part? Well, it happens right about here. So first of all, what's the grip fight over here? Andrew's grabbing at Ronaldo's left hand, I think with a 2-on-1 grip, or he's trying to get a 2-on-1 grip. He has a 2-on-1 grip, and he's pulling it, and he's using pressure. He's using left direction pressure with his shin. So this is a very basic push-pull mechanic. He's pushing across with his shin and pulling with his hand. So it creates a torque on the body. And in response to that, someone's pulling at your wrist, instinctively you're going to pull back at it, right? You're going to pull your wrist back. You're going to try to break the grip. That's exactly what Ronaldo is doing. As soon as he does that, there's that moment of I'm pulling my wrist back. My posture changes. Andrew uses that as momentum to get under his opponent. He gets under Ronaldo. You can watch that here. Ronaldo pulls his wrist back, breaks the grip, and now Andrew is under the hips. Now, if I were Danaher, I might be dramatic and say something like, at this moment, the fight is already lost. But it's kind of true. Andrew is under the hips, which means he has the superior positioning, and in order to respond to that, Ronaldo now has to flatten Andrew out so that his hips are not much of a threat. But an important part of flattening someone out when you're on top of half guard is also backing up. So he's going to flatten Andrew out. However, he's not going to back his hips up enough. So Andrew's still going to have the correct hip positioning during all of this. So he scoops the head in an attempt to flatten Andrew out, but Andrew was kind of like predicting that, because that's the most common response, and he's not going to sacrifice the hips. So he gets his hips completely under. You can actually see that Ronaldo's left leg, I believe, is already completely elevated. I think it's almost a scorpion type position. Yeah. So he's using that momentum to swing him back. So let's watch that. So we grip fight, we pull on the wrist, pull back, get the hips under, use that momentum to turn him over. Now he's off balance, right? Now we have momentum. Andrew swings back, gets a deeper underhook. So he doesn't initially go for the sweep. He gets this big momentum, gets the underhook, goes back, boom, right there. So this is the overcommitment on Ronaldo Junior's part. He knows that he's the one responding now. He was off balance. He's now responding by grabbing the head in a last-ditch effort to either flatten Andrew out on bottom, shift his body weight enough that he can potentially stand up on another leg, although that's becoming increasingly unlikely because Andrew already has his right hand wrapped around Ronaldo's far leg, I think, I'm not sure, and the momentum is on his side. So he's desperately grabbing for head control. And you could argue also that his initial grab for head control was an overcommitment because it was responsive and he didn't back his hips enough. So that was the overcommitment here. Yeah, he hugs the tricep in an attempt to get full arm and head control. Arm and head control is a very, very strong, control point. And so that was the overcommitment, I think, is going for the arm and the head and in doing so sacrificing hip position. I would have much rather tried to get perhaps a better option. Obviously these people are of a skill level much higher than me. But perhaps a far better option would be to use your left hand and instead of scooping the head, fight for an underhook on that same side. But instead he dove for the head and arm control, which is a good option, but one that was likely predictable or expected or baited by Andrew. So that's the overcommitment there. He comes up, shifts his hips, he comes out on top, and he's able to get the single leg. Now, he's driving forward, he's staying low to the ground, gets his points for the sweep, then backs up and creates space. Why is this so important? Because Andrew, when he initially gets the sweep, let's go back. According to IBJJF rules, you don't get points for the sweep unless you hold your person down for 3 seconds, right? So you need 3 seconds of downtime. The overcommitment that Andrew is making is to the guard pass. He knows he's not going to get a guard pass off of this, but he's going crazy. He's hugging the hips as tight as he can. He's in the air. He's moving. He's staying close as possible. He's not necessarily interested in maintaining a longing chest-to-chest connection, to really advance his position. What he's doing is ensuring that there's enough energy going forward that Ronaldo has to respond to it and doesn't necessarily have the time to stand up in 3 seconds. Thus, Andrew gets the points for the sweep because he overcommitted to the guard pass after he got the sweep. So he's overcommitting to the guard pass, and as soon as he gets his points, he backs up, and because this is an overcommitment, if he kept on driving forward, it's very likely that after his sweep, Ronaldo is obviously an extremely skilled competitor. Ronaldo would probably be able to get under Andrew's hips in turn and sweep him similarly. If you're driving forward with all this momentum, a skilled opponent will redirect that momentum and get under your hips as well. So he's driving forward, and as soon as he gets those 2 points, he backs up and he ends his overcommitment. So that was the productive overcommitment that I'm talking about. I hope that made sense.